Today I'm going to show you how to make chocolate truffles, and these make a wonderful gift. So if you're stuck for ideas for Christmas gifts, maybe for your kids' teachers or your work colleagues, grandparents or anyone else, then these would make a perfect gift, as they're really easy to make, and once they're made they look really nice in little gift boxes or gift bags, and they'll just make a really delicious treat for somebody. Easy. And once you know the basic recipe, you can be really creative with it and add whatever flavorings or anything else that you like, so you can really make it your own. So to start with, we're just going to use a cup of chopped dark chocolate. As I've said before, make sure it's 70% cocoa or higher, and check the label to make sure it's a vegan chocolate. So if you want to make more truffles, you can double the recipe, so you can use 2 cups of chocolate. So just putting that in the bowl, and then I've got half a cup of coconut cream just from the can, and obviously if you're doubling the recipe, use 1 cup. So we're just going to heat this. So it's just a matter of heating it up until it gets to a near to boiling. Okay, so you can see that starting to boil. So we're just going to take it and put it onto the chocolate. So just pour it on your chocolate and just make sure it's all covered. And then you just let that sit for about a minute so that it can melt. Alright, so now it's sit there for about a minute. We're just going to stir it until it all melts and comes together. So once that's done, you can add any other flavouring you like. This is where you can be creative and add whatever you like. So I just divide it into some bowls so I can add different flavours. I have lavender, so I'm going to make some lavender truffles. So let's put a few drops in there. Okay. And just mix it. So when you're doing this, make sure that you taste it after adding a few drops, and so you know whether it's strong enough or not, because things like this you can make them too strong if you're not careful. So it's just a matter of like just having a little taste. And if you think it still needs a bit more, then just add a bit, but just do it in small quantities so that you don't put too much in, because you don't want chocolates that taste like soap. So just taste that again. Yeah, I think that's got enough lavender in it now without being overpowering. So I'm going to use rose water. So the same principle applies for any flavouring that you add. Always add a little bit, taste it, and if it needs more, then just put a bit more. maybe I'll add just a tiny bit more to that, so it's a bit stronger. Yeah, that one's good. I like doing this because I like tasting chocolate. So now I've got peppermint. Peppermint and chocolate are a very nice combination. So we'll just put a few drops in there as well. It needs a little bit more as well. That's good. All right, now finally I have some dried fruit that I soaked in some whiskey overnight. Obviously, if you're using whiskey or any other alcohol, make sure it's vegan, because not all of it is, as you probably know. So I've just soaked a bit, and what I'm going to make now is like Christmas pudding chocolate truffles. And if you really love Christmas pudding, you're really going to like these. Once you've added whatever flavourings you like, and of course there are many other types of flavours you could add, and even things like orange rind, lemon or lime rind is also a nice flavour. You could also add spices, which actually reminds me, if you're making Christmas pudding truffles, a little spice like cinnamon and nutmeg would be really nice in there. So actually I might put a bit of that in now. Okay, so these have been in the fridge or the freezer for a little while, and as you see they're getting quite firm. So what we do now is just break off a little piece, however big you want it. This is a bit messy, this part. But you basically just roll it in cacao powder. Whoa, very sticky. Once you've rolled them into balls, just place them on a baking paper on a tray or a plate, and just continue until you have done all the mixture. And if you live in a colder climate, this is going to be easier. Obviously here it's quite hot, and so the mixture's melting very fast. But if you keep rolling it in cacao powder, that really helps. So it's not as sticky, it's easier to roll. So I'm just doing that. Just put that there, another one of those. You've rolled all the mixture, then you have to place it in the freezer again, so it will firm up. So you probably up to 20 minutes, but it might be quicker than that. So here are the ones we put the dried fruit and whiskey mixture into. And that's nice and firm now as well. So it's just a matter of doing the same thing with those. Just roll it into the cacao powder. There we go. So now for the final stage, we need melted chocolate, about 100 to 200 grams, depending on how many truffles you've made. So all you have to do now, once they've been in the freezer and they're firm, you just have to coat them in the melted chocolate. And just put onto some other baking paper and just put on, if you want to put on a topping. So obviously if you've made lavender truffles, a bit of lavender on the top is nice, just so people know what it is. So now I'll do a rose water one. And a nice topping for rose water would be some crushed pistachio nuts, which being green, they look very Christmassy. Oops. I'll just do another rose water one here. And obviously another good topping for a rose water flavour would be some nice rose petals, which you could coat it all in rose petals or just the top, whatever you like. The peppermint flavour and coconut would go really well as a topping for that. And of course you could just leave them plain, or you could put grated chocolate on them as well, or any other type of crushed nuts, or any other edible flower petals, or any other decorations you may have that are nice, healthy or vegan decorations. Obviously you can let your imagination run wild, and you can be really creative when you're coating these. And as you see, like the variety of toppings you use give them really unique looks as well as unique flavours. So lastly I'm going to do the Christmas pudding truffles. So I'm just going to coat these in chocolate in the same way. Oops. So I'm just going to leave them to set just for a couple of minutes, then I'm going to put another topping on those to make it look like a little Christmas pudding. So just to finish off the Christmas pudding truffles, which I've just had in the freezer for about a minute, so they firm a little bit, I've just got some cashew cream icing, which is actually the same icing I use for the red velvet cupcakes, if you want to have a look at it. And I'm just going to put a bit of that on the top. Final thing, you could just put a cranberry on the top, or even a goji berry. Just some nice red berry just to finish it off. And then finally, a little grating of nutmeg. Whoops! And that tastes really nice as well. It's got the real Christmas pudding taste in a truffle. Okay, so now just put it in the freezer until it completely firms up. Okay, so there you have the finished product of the chocolate truffles. And as you can see, if you do them up in a nice bag, they'll make a really lovely Christmas present. And they're good for any occasions as well. So any other like birthdays or other celebrations. These are great because you can really make them your own, as you see, and do whatever toppings or flavorings that you like. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.